So I just want to talk about B. Simone, because after watching that podcast episode yesterday where her best friend Shekinah was literally sitting there heartbroken, unemployed, on food stamps, without a car, and basically crying out for help, I don't care what anyone says, B. Simone is not a good friend. I said what I said. Roll the clip.
A best friend with a celebrity, everybody thinks that, oh, because you're connected to this person, then your life is just as grand as theirs, or you got
it, or they helping you.
Baby, didn't have a job, living with my parents, a single mom. All this happened to me this past year.
Jesus.
And then it's like to not have resentment in my heart towards you because I saw you do this for other people. I saw you give a check to somebody to help them through whatever they went through. And it's like, God, like nobody didn't give me a handout, but guess what? That wasn't your responsibility. God had to take me through that for my own season, for my own thing. I had to get my car repossessed.
Jesus.
I had to go through the food stamps line. I had to be on Medicaid because whatever I'm building my story too. But it's like, as a friend somebody who has it, it's hard to digest.
So here's what happened for those who are confused. On their podcast, Let's Try This Again, Shekinah opened up about how hard life has been for her lately. She said she was jobless, relying on food stamps, didn't have a car, and was taking care of her kids while staying with family. Like rock bottom, real life struggle. And what shocked people, especially me, was the fact that she had to say this while sitting next to her rich best friend, B. Simone, who had literally been giving strangers $1,000 for fun. Strangers, internet giveaways, but not a dime to her best friend who clearly needed it more than anybody.
And B. Simone, I don't know if you just can't read through the lines, or maybe you just simply don't give a fuck. But your best friend just literally sat there and told you how she lost everything. And even had to go on food stamps. And she sat there and she watched you help somebody else while she was drowning. And you sat there and said, Jesus.
So people were online not having it. They were like, you gave strangers 1K, but not your day one friend. And listen, it's one thing to not want to enable people. I get it. But Shekinah wasn't sitting there entitled. She didn't even ask B. Simone for anything on that episode. She was just being vulnerable. And B. Simone sat there stone-faced, screaming out for Jesus every time Shekinah spoke. So here's where it really rubs me the wrong way. B. Simone has built a whole brand about manifesting, healing, abundance, and all that. Sis was on Instagram talking about self-love and energy alignment while her best friend was applying for EBT. How are you out here doing vision board workshops for $500 a seat, selling freaking books, but your homegirl can't even get an Uber to the studio? You want to talk about protecting your peace and not enabling people? Cool. But don't weaponize that mindset to spiritually bypass the fact that you just left your friend for dead.
When a person keeps stuff like this in their memory bank and they come off as very forgiving and accepting and, oh, I get it, it wasn't your obligation, but then they bring it up at a later date on a public podcast in front of millions of people, that shit affected her more than she willing to admit. And that's her way of saying, if the tables ever turn in my favor, if God ever prepares a table before me in the presence of you, I'm gonna real life do it to you, because I'm gonna forever remember how you did me when I was struggling. I'm gonna forever remember how you watched me drown, but you was a life raft for a stranger. How I had to get my car repoed and you was paying for cars for strangers. How you was keeping a roof over another bitch and her kids' head, but when it came time to help your best friend and her kids, you looked the other way like you didn't see shit. Let's be clear, it wasn't B. Simone's responsibility. It wasn't her obligation. It's her money. She do whatever she want with her money. But it's the fact of the matter that it wasn't your obligation to make sure a stranger had a car either, but you did that. It wasn't your obligation to pay for a stranger's divorce, but you did that. It wasn't your obligation to make sure a stranger on the street had a roof over their head for their kids, but you did that. So when it comes to your friend, you looking the other way like, shit, that's not my obligation, but that's your friend. B. Simone seemed like the type of bitch that she don't want you to elevate, because if you elevate, she know you gonna speed past her. She know that's weird. I don't care what nobody say. It don't gotta be your obligation. But at the same time, you could have did it off the love, just like you did it off the love for the people that you didn't even know.
So let's be clear. B. Simone is a bad friend for this. This isn't about money. It's not about loyalty. It's about presence. It's about doing what you would want someone to do for you if the roles were reversed. Because if the situation was flipped and B. Simone lost everything tomorrow, she'll be devastated. Shekinah sat on a podcast sipping her tea while she cried about everything she went through and her screaming Jesus every every time she was talking about it. If I had $5K in my bank account and my best friend's child is eating dinner off food stamps, that money ain't mine anymore, because a win isn't a win if the person I love is suffering next to me. And that's what real friendship is supposed to be.
I don't resent you. I had to get my car repossessed. I had to have my house blow up. I had to move back in with my mom. I had to end up a single mom. I had to get taken away to another planet and tortured and experimented on by aliens. I had to burn in hell and meet the devil twice. And you could have helped me. You could have helped me. I watched you help everybody else. You gave checks to everybody else. You know, you let me drown while you was walking on water. You was out here kicking ass, and you let life jump me in the back of an alley and beat me half to death with a sledgehammer and a wooden paddle. But I don't resent you. It's not your responsibility. Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. J-E-S-U-S, Jesus in Spanish. Jesus, tap dancing Christ. Something about the name Jesus. I don't give a damn about what you just said, but Jesus.
So what makes this worse is that B. Simone has made a whole identity online out being a girl's girl, a bestie, a woman of God, a self-help guru. But that podcast really pulled back the curtain, because what I saw wasn't a woman of God. It wasn't a healed queen. It was a woman who looked embarrassed that her friend was being too real on camera. B. Simone wasn't uncomfortable because Shekinah was struggling. She was uncomfortable because it didn't fit her brand. So yeah, call me harsh if you want, but this wasn't just a tough convo between friends. This was a character reveal. This showed us that B. Simone might be more committed to her image than to the people in her life. And if helping strangers on the internet looks better for your give back PR than helping your own damn best friend, then you don't need a podcast. You need a mirror.
Being friends with a celebrity, everyone just assumes like, oh, because you're connected to that person, that life must be just as grand as theirs. That like, oh, everything, you got it going on and everything is just as...
Or you got it.
Bruh, like...
But you don't.
I don't, homie. I'm living with my parents.
Jesus.
Right? I just popped out one.
Jeez.
I had lost my job. It's all within the last year. And, you know, to not have resentment in my heart towards you, you know, because I've seen you help other people. I've seen you cut the check for someone when they were going through things. But here's the kicker. That wasn't your responsibility. Like, God had to do something within me for my story, right? So I had to get my car repossessed, right? I had to sit in the food stamp line and the Medicaid line because he was doing something in me, you know, and, but to have a friend, you know, who has access to it, you know, it was hard to digest, you know. They ain't even gonna believe we talking about this right now.
They not,
nah,
but they should.
Yeah, but they should.
They better, because it happened.
It's
I
the
did
truth.
it.
You
I
did. You did.
I did it.
All of that. But God got you. He got me. He will. Yep.
That B. Simone, you're fucking weird. That's some weird fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm not spinning. Y'all spinning this fucking. That's weird. That's your best friend. Not even your fucking acquaintance. Not your regular friend. That's your best friend. And you saw and watched the bitch fucking struggle. The bitch was sitting there about to cry, telling you all the shit she was going through. You got the nerve to say, Jesus, do not call her my father. And no shade, the friend is weird as fuck too. I think that bitch got a mental illness, because ain't no motherfucking way you finna sit there and look at that bitch in that face when that bitch look at you struggle. Mind you, B. Simone not obligated to do a fuck thing, but if that's my best friend, and the bitch got the nerve to sit there and say that she was jealous, yeah, when you told me good news, I felt hurt. I was like mad. What the fuck is wrong with you bitches? The girl just sat up there and told us that she was on Section 8. She lost her car. She lost her third leg and all this. She lost an eyeball and she had to go on the street and sell cat and then this, that, and the third. Like, she was really she was fucked up. She done lost everything. And she's sitting there watching you as her best friend, bestie, like best. Like, this ain't the regular best friend of everybody else and their mama. I'm just supposed to be watching. Hey. Like, I don't lost 3 eyes and I'm just watching you bless bitches with Teslas and shit. That's weird as fuck. That's the weirdest fuck. And then the friend, I'm telling you, that bitch has a mental illness. She decided to sit up here in her face and said, yeah, God wanted me to go through all that. No, God also wanted you to cut that bitch off, but here we are.
So this has been a Culture Debrief. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had a friend like this? You know, someone who preached love and light but abandoned you when things got dark? Let's talk about it. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and we will talk again later.